Say no to pirated goods.
What's wrong with me? Why does my heart feel so lifeless and empty?
482 yen, please.
Sure.
From ugly snapbacks you see at Spencer's, to the weird egg things that popped up in Target, that are a mishmash of popular franchises, the anime merchandise market for Western fans has changed. A lot. Also, how dumb do they think us weebs really are? Like, we'll just buy anything they put anime on. Okay, don't answer that. But I do believe continuing to support bad quality products only hurts the anime merchandise in the future, because when the bulk of these things don't sell, it'll have consequences for the industry itself, which is why you started seeing figures at discount stores like Ross and Five Below. The same figures you see at a convention for a fraction of the price. Maybe that's a good thing, with the retail stores like Hobby Lobby getting rid of their weeb section, along with an atrocious amount of pops that will eventually end up in landfills. While it's all licensed and legit, most of this merchandise feels lazy and uninspired. That's not to say the Japanese market doesn't have its share of lazy products like microfiber cloths and can badges that end up in vending machines' mystery boxes, even though that's for a different market entirely that actually uses those products. But when we are the target of those lazy blind boxes filling the checkouts of a big box store, it becomes a bit more personal, to the point where every obscure character from every popular series has their own figure and merchandise. And yes, someone thought this box lunch ugly ass Luffy lamp from the live action One Piece was a good idea. You see, the base is a barrel, the hat is a lamp, and the hand is the pole. That'll be $40. Okay, I'll give it points for uniqueness, but really, who is buying this? The comment section on this short had people saying they would actually buy it. My lamp is a hand. You see what I mean though? Watch this video before you buy another piece of domestic anime merch, because there's some good, some bad, and well, ugly. Welcome back, I'm Dusk, but you can call me Koala. Today we're going to talk about the anime cash grabs being sold in stores right now. While I appreciate that big companies are catering to the common weeb and the shonen normies who love big explosions, the problem is the amount of garbage they put out. And is it a bad thing? F***ing piece of shit, and is it a bad thing? And yes, garbage is what I'm calling it, because the designs are mid. And the abundance of companies all making the same chibi-style Rengoku can be overwhelming, as the practice has already become something common with Western media licenses. Although I would like to see Goku as a popsicle, it's jarring seeing the same thing being applied to anime within the last decade. While the products are not merchandise imported from Japan, it's been wild to see the change in real time. Having lived through the limited anime merch of the 2000s, we gave Vegeta a gun. I'm sure, like me, most of you are tired of seeing the same 3 Death Note PNGs on Hot Topic shirts since 2008. But to understand how we got here, let's take a look at the history of anime merch in America.
Left, right, do it to the beat. Talk with my body, that's my strategy.
While we won't be going over the entire history of Western anime merch, or merchandise that somehow made its way to the US, we will talk about some notable ones, mostly anime merch that was licensed and or reproduced for sale domestically, with the first being small flesh-color wrestlers based off the Kunikamon manga.
Update, scientists discover muscle things have come to wrestle.
That were rebranded as Muscle, millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. It sounds like they really wanted them to be marketed as aliens. It was probably because of the ET craze.
Avoid spilled juice.
Oh my god!
Licensed and released in the US in 1985 when wrestling was already huge, as protagonist Kunikamon was renamed to Muscle Man, and the US got 263 figures, with different colors eventually hitting the market. They must have sold really well, because we even got the NES game released stateside under the same Muscle name. Only France would get the original anime outside of Japan. It wasn't until the early 2000s that the US finally got the sequel anime renamed Ultimate Muscle, that parodied the new generation of wrestlers from the 1990s. Which was actually really good. I still believe it had one of the strangest 4Kids dubs though.
The incredible Miss Cheeks.
Monchichi is a 1975 stuffed monkey from Sekiguchi Corporation, created by Yoshiharu Washino. The toys featured a stuffed fuzzy body and a plastic face. Doesn't that look familiar? Sekiguchi said they're created to inspire respect and love in Japanese children and young adults, and make a ton of money in monkey form, making their way to the US in 1980 and licensed by toy giant Mattel. They got so popular that also in 1980, they got their own anime in Japan, Monchichi Twins.
The boy's name was Mon.
Hi.
The girl's name was Chi-Chi.
That was produced by Tokyo 12, which would later become TV Tokyo, with the series having 130 short episode segments, and a 1983 Hanna-Barbera American adaptation. This one's simply called Monchichis. Although it only lasted 13 episodes, the cast included Peter Cullen, who's known for Optimus Prime and Toonami promos. Like all fads, the Monchichi sales began to decline, and by 1985, they were dropped by Mattel. Today, they are still available, but directly distributed by Sekiguchi, along with special editions and anniversary variants, which is a crazy long lifespan for a toy. While not very popular, if you remember these, you are my people. These bootleg Street Fighter vending machine figures were based off the Street Fighter 2 Japanese release by Bandai, which had solid colors and over 100 variants, which I had mistaken for the muscle figures growing up. See, it connected. They were painted one color and black on the eyebrows. While information is scarce, I remember seeing these as prizes at Chuck E. Cheese and other similar pizza and game restaurants for about 5 tickets each. If anyone knows if they're still making these, I would really like to know. They're not important since they're bootlegs, but I just thought it was worth mentioning for my own nostalgia.
Leave me alone!
As anime series and films began to have their cult following in the early to late 1990s, there was a demand for figure representation. And while importing figures and merchandise was nearly impossible at the time, this is where McFarlane Toys stepped in to fill the demand.
On explodes under the big screen. Super Agent Al Simmons, a man betrayed by his friend.
With a reputation for producing adult collectibles based on his Spawn comics and sports icons, the anime figures looked amazing. Watch any behind-the-scenes video of this company from that time, they are hand-painting details on these figures. Spanning from 2000 to 2002, the figures came in 2 waves, with a series including Fascist Stampede from Trigun, Tetsuo from Akira, Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo, Kaneda from Akira, and Kaneda's Bike from Akira. In 2001, we got Series 2, with Tenchi Masaki from Tenchi Muyo, Soul Taker from Soul Taker, which kinda stood out as it wasn't very popular, but was airing on US cable TV at the time. Joker from the Clown Gang in Akira, Makoto Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, Naomi Armitage from Armitage III, and Akira himself from Akira, and a special 2-pack of Kaneda and his bike, followed by a final 2002 release of Dual Matrix Naomi Armitage, a repaint of the last figure that was only available with the Dual Matrix DVD Lunchbox Special Edition, which I got on eBay for $25, and that was it. Now the company would come back to make anime figures later, way later, but without the signature McFarlane look.
Hey, Vegeta!
What?
I'm a Saiyan, legendary Saiyan. 그렇게 손마루 열을 walk away.
1991 Dragon Ball Super Battle Collection by Bandai is nothing less than iconic for Dragon Ball toy collectors. S-tier packaging, great sculpts, and a variety of characters to choose from Z through GT, and the less articulated AB Toy Super Guerriers. I don't know how to pronounce that, but both had molds that were used to release The Saga Continues for a Western market in 1998 by Canadian toy company Irwin Toys. And the difference in the sculpts from the Super Battle Collection and the AB Toys showed.
Dragon Ball Z, the saga continues. Will Goku and Trunks' Super Saiyan power be enough this time? Gohan's in danger.
But this made an entire series of anime figures available to kids actually watching the show, even if some of the characters were from later seasons. That wouldn't be dubbed till way after the toy line ceased production, which explains why Super Saiyan Gogeta and Vegeta always were in stock, leading to mysteries like why wasn't Krillin bald, why was Trunks a child, and who was this elf character, which I still don't know who that is. The company would later continue the series with their own original sculpts, which was a huge undertaking, but they were actually good. That included hard-to-find women figures like Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Videl. That of course, resellers just also ate up the majority of the stock. But back to The Saga Continues, a great and memorable line of anime figures, with the only problem being the extra weapons that were included for some reason. The power pole for Super Saiyan Goku 3 doesn't make sense, but at least it had something to do with Dragon Ball, not the random swords or firearms. But still, amazing anime toys that fit super well into the US action figure space.
Pokemon are everywhere. They're invading. Each with powers more awesome than the next.
Finally, the most notable anime toy adaptations for US market, Pokemon. The original figures of the trainers were by Takara Tomy, Satoshi and Kasumi, Kojiro and Musashi, and Takeshi and Joey. I think they meant Joy, but who's spell-checking English in the 1990s? This line included the 1998 Pocket Monster figures, each with their own individual card art. The numbers didn't match the Pokédex, and included some special edition sets. They were so popular that you could find them at your local grocery store. The perfect representation of pocket monsters that can actually fit in your pocket. In the same year, Hasbro began reproducing the Takara line domestically. Through a deal with Nintendo and 4Kids, the trainers were released individually with a Pokeball, this cool mini Game Boy thing, and a Pokemon they had in the show. Sometimes the Pokemon would be different, some of the Pokemon even got released in their own evolution sets, but for the most part, it would be 2-packs, with unpopular Pokemon like Beedrill always in stock. Hasbro eventually released their own original sculpted articulated trainers, like this Misty I've been trying to find for over a decade, with some sculpts being, interesting. And possibly my favorite thing on this list were the Pokemon Power Bouncers. Not only do they look delicious to choke on, but the packaging itself mimicked the Takara look. And if you were destructive like me, you would destroy the ball and dig out the little Pokemon sculpt inside, for an even smaller choking hazard.
Electronic Pokedex for master trainers from Abra to Zubat.
With also a quick nod to Tiger Electronics, who made an actual Pokedex. Not sure how it worked because I never got one. Also the Ash hat replica from the first movie. Never got one of those either. Still, nothing feels as nostalgic as seeing that old Pokemon logo with the Pokeball and a red background. Probably the best anime toy line for a Western audience ever released. Now let's jump forward to the current timeline. You know, the one where all your favorite toy stores are now a thing of the past. But you can find anime merch in most big box stores sitting on the shelf, which is crazy as we have now come full circle back to those early Pokemon days. But now we can choose from more than just Pikachu. I'd still choose you, Pikachu. Well, kinda. Unlike back then, you can't find Pokemon cards sitting on the shelves because of the circle jerk of people reselling cards to each other, and resellers stalking the vendors who deliver the product. Yes, that is a real thing, but where else are you gonna find a customer willing to pay $4K for a card from a children's card game who isn't a reseller themselves? Except for Kaiba, but he's not real, he's anime. Yugi was so dumb for not taking his money.
You're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop.
And now to our current era. As we move forward 2 decades, anime will come back in a big way, and has now become mainstream. Some of you might be new anime fans, and that's okay. Maybe you think it just looks cool and connect with the modern stories more. And if that's you, like the video and subscribe. I do attribute the availability and the ease of access to companies like Hot Topic and Funimation for making anime merchandise more accessible, where you would see a person wearing an anime shirt maybe once a month outside of a convention, to daily, to multiple times a day, as anyone walking into a mall or Walmart could buy more than a Yu-Gi-Oh towel like in 2001. Now we have entire sections and stores dedicated to geekdom. Rip ThinkGeek though, with aisles that included merchandise aimed towards a market that were no longer children, but now adults with disposable income, and no kids. Cut that out, cut that out, cut that out. Comic book movies, old movies, new TV shows, video game characters, Bob Ross, and anime can now be found on shelves side by side, with the amount of products available rivaling that of any specialty store like a defunct FYE. But was it all good? The answer is maybe. While this opened the doors for bigger retailers to carry imported lines like the Dragon Ball Bandai, SH Figuarts, Tamashi, Ichibansho figures, I can't tell them apart anymore. That are some of the best figures to come out since the Super Battle Collection, with the line including other anime series like Sailor Moon, One Piece, and Naruto, and parents wondering why this Goku figure costs $50 at the checkout. That's not to mention the domestic availability of Good Smiles, Figmas, and Nendoroids. While limited in selection, you can easily find characters like Link, or characters from domestic franchises like Overwatch, when it used to be popular. It's wild to be able to walk into a big box store such as a Best Buy and pick them up the same day, at a slightly more inflated price. At least we still have 1/44 scale Gundam kits since the 2000s. While imported anime merch is all good, it's not exactly cheap, so less people will buy. But for younger fans and collectors, there's now more affordable merch that has a price point on par with Pops. And yes, we went through all that history just to get to this point. We'll be going through different stores and looking at the worst anime merch available, one store at a time, possibly helping or alienating myself from these brands entirely. Starting with...
Look at this place! What a disgusting cesspool of humanity! These people are nothing but vultures, feeding on the trash and carrion that falls from the sky.
While known to have merchandise at a higher price point, Box Lunch is a perfect example of some of the ugliest anime merch. And for this company, their obsession are these ugly baseball shirts for every character and series, and cost way too much that they probably paid a few dollars to have manufactured. That's why they all look the same. And no one wants a Frieza baseball shirt. Holy shit, it's sold out. There's only small left. Okay, I stand corrected. But why? This Vegeta soccer jersey doesn't even have a picture of him. You're essentially spending $50 or the word Vegeta and nothing else. I guess it's blue. It's also sold out. I don't understand. But the biggest contender for the worst anime merch on this site goes to the Luffy arm lamp I mentioned earlier, which some of you in the comments in the short actually like it. I still don't get why, but apparently it's selling, so I guess enjoy while it's on sale. That's so ugly. At this point, it could have just been the barrel on the hat, but this arm thing, I can't get over how bad this is. While being a mall staple for decades, Spencer's caters to a very specific demographic. Specifically someone who likes alt bands, pop culture, smoking, overpriced adult toys, and of course anime. With that description alone, you could probably picture this exact type of person that fits this diagram. If that's you, hi, subscribe. While checking out the website, the graphic tees are fine, actually pretty affordable in comparison to Box Lunch, but Spencer's really likes pushing these large printed blankets for whatever reason. And those beanies with the side flaps that used to be popular a long time ago. But the worst merchandise on the site has to go to this Demon Slayer lava lamp. But again, you're paying a premium for a logo. No Nezuko, no Tanjiro. A logo alone is not worth $50. They also sell these Akatsuki cloaks and Naruto costumes that are exclusively made for Spirit Halloween, but sold at Spencer's. Also, it is the hub for ugly snapbacks your younger sibling or that one guy in your college class always wears. Moving on. Over the years, the local GameStop was filled wall to wall with video games from the current gen to the oldest consoles that span 2 decades. But the era of used retro games has come to an end, at least inside the stores themselves. Since the now defunct ThinkGeek has been absorbed into GameStop, the merchandise has taken over the store. Where else are they going to put all that valuable merchandise? And it sells. GameStop has essentially become a toy store aimed at adult collectors. The first thing I was met with the mobile version of the website were graded trading cards. Also, this link catering directly to anime fans. Nani? Anime video games. And to get Senpai to notice you with dope anime toys and collectibles. They are really pushing those weeb sales. Even manga is being promoted on the website with, of course, the most mainstream series. Fun fact, in the early 2000s, GameStop used to carry anime magazines and the American version of Shonen Jump. So it's kind of fitting as those publications no longer exist. They have another Luffy lamp. Why? Luffy is more than just his hat. They could have done his whole face or like a chopper head, but no, it's just his hat. Why is it always his hat? And it's expensive. Look at the size of that thing. It's like the size of an actual hat. I hope it's actuals. For $50, $39.89 for pros. I hope it's pretty big. The worst piece of merchandise on the website isn't that bad, but it's not worth the price. A Death Note L coffee mug. No picture of L himself, just a letter. Because if they think anyone is dumb enough to buy this, oh wait, someone did. It has a 1-star review. They didn't even bother to write anything, it just says 1 star. Look at all these ramen bowls. GameStop has a problem with ramen bowls. It can't be good for you, all that sodium. Dragon Ball ramen bowl. We are living in the future.
Lube jobs! Lube jobs! Grease your gears with high-grade oil and Teflon. Best lube jobs in town.
I'll take a squeeze of that, kid.
Overall, it's not that bad, but nothing too exciting. Another mall staple, Hot Topic has been known to keep up with what's trending among the youth, and older fans that still pop into the store every now and then would be pleasantly surprised that anime is still alive and well. We are far past the Dragon Ball Guy Fieri looking button-up shirts of the 2000s, and holy shit, they have new Death Note designs. Honestly, browsing the website, their t-shirt selection is insane. As an anime fan, you would be hard-pressed not to find at least one design that catches your eye. This was the store that was known for selling a Vashta Stampede jacket and an Edward Elric jacket in the early 2000s. Of course, you have pops and pins for the casuals. Like the other websites, you do have a decent selection of popular figures. And aside from silly looking socks, I don't see anything bad. I think part of it is that they have experience in knowing what anime fans want to buy, or have been buying over the past 2 decades, with anime shirts from the 2000s selling for over $100 on eBay. So Hot Topic's still the top spot to buy anime merch in the US, unless you're going to a specialty store, which are popping up more now. But as far as easy access, it'll probably be Hot Topic. One of the big box stores that has started to cater to pop culture, and they are a serious competitor to a specialty shop. No more Suncoast Video, Sam Goody, Hastings, Very few FYEs are left. Here you can get a few select anime DVDs, popular manga, Gundam kits, and some imported figures, like the Tamashii Nation figures we talked about earlier. But there is a new line of figures over the past few years from Bandai. The Anime Heroes line that includes the biggest IP your shonen boy would love to collect. We have One Piece, My Hero Academia, Naruto, Jujutsu Kaisen, Bleach, and Chainsaw Man for some reason, marketed as playable figures rather than collectibles. And you also have some hit or miss face sculpts. While you can actually get a Sakura figure in the collection to complete your Team 7, forget about Nami or Robin ever being made. Aside from the lack of women sculpts, they're not too bad. And yes, I know there is no shortage of anime figures of women, but in this particular line there is. And this is where it starts to get really confusing, as Bandai also has the Ultimate Legends line. It's slightly cheaper and includes Demon Slayer figures, but also has its own set of One Piece and Naruto figures. It's loading so slow. How slow. On top of that, McFarlane returned to making anime figures with their anime line. It's just called Anime. That over the last 8 years has had figures from Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, 7 Deadly Sins, with a 7-inch Persona 3 Reload Makoto Yuki coming out soon. These figures lack the grittiness of the 3D animation from Japan series, but still have some cool sculpts that aren't 100% accurate, like something is just off. But back to Bandai. They have their budget Dragon Ball figure series, Dragon Stars. While they're arguably better than the Super Battle Collection and the early releases from the 90s, they're just missing something. Maybe it's the Western packaging, or how the articulation of the figures means they're meant to be played with, or probably just the number of Dragon Ball figures we've seen over the past 2 decades is well into the thousands. The figures span across most of the recent series, like the Super and Daima, but again, it's more for the casual fans than collectors, which there's nothing wrong with that. And the reason I went over all of these figures is because they can be found on the shelf right next to each other, making it very confusing as to what you're buying. And Bandai has mostly created a monopoly of these licenses while saturating the market of budget-friendly figures even more. It's like when your competition is yourself, while confusing parents on why some figures are $50 and these are $15 to $20. It's not like there already aren't 1,000 Luffy figures from Japan. But you can see that how Bandai having these 2 budget-friendly series of One Piece figures could be considered overkill, right down to the store stocking both series at the same time. So the anime merch here isn't bad, but a bit overwhelming. We also have some plushies that are anything special, but have you heard of Zuru, a Hong Kong-based toy company that's known for its Pets Alive Smitten Kitten and Rainbow Corns Mermaid Corns Surprise? They have the Zuru 5 Surprise Anime Pop Plush that includes anime animals like Akamaru, Kon, and Inosuke. While the amount of licenses in one Surprise line is impressive, it doesn't feel like much thought was put into the actual product. Just another blind bag for the mini weebs. And the blind bags have taken over in the anime space. And it's stuff I would have killed for as a kid trying to get my hands on anything anime looking at the time. So where does that lead us today? Well, even more assurance that anime is here to stay, and whether you like the Dragon Ball socks and ramen bowls or the weird Luffy lamps, make no mistake that anything that you can slap a Vegeta on will sell. The only thing that may change is the consumer viewing habits, as there is less of a cable TV audience, but one could argue that's where streaming platforms like Netflix comes in, where new series will come and go, but the handful of series will remain the staples of what we can get our hands on, like anything Pokemon. But I think as an anime fan, we shouldn't blindly buy everything that comes out, but put our money into something more unique that is really going to feel like money well spent. I'm really liking Q Poskets over the Pop, so I feel like those are more of a happy medium, but I have to ask, what's the worst anime merch you've ever seen? Have you bought anything anime that you regret buying or selling? I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. With that being said, thank you all for watching. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, hi. While you're here, binge some of the shorts. A lot of work goes into them, and they're pretty fun to watch. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye. This took a while to write. It's been a while. My back hurts. I'm kind of leaning forward because of the way I have the camera set up. But I'm back. 6-day work weeks aren't helping. Ooh, what new anime should I watch? I was really happy watching Gibbon because I like band animes. Okay, I'm done. See you next time.